Hello and welcome to White Centipede Noise Podcast. I'm Oscar Brummel, and today my guest is Greg of the honorable Texas-based label Dada Drumming and the long-running harsh noise project A Fail Association. If you're a fan of White Centipede Noise Podcast, please consider supporting it via Patreon. For just $5 a month, you get access to WCN TV content, and for $10 a month, you can join the Maniac Circle, which gives you access to WCN TV premium content, the Maniac Circle Discord server, and regular giveaways as my thanks to you. Without Patreon support, this show is not possible, so please head over to patreon.com/whitecentipedenoise to check out what you can do to support the show. An extra special thank you to heavy sponsors of the podcast, John Ingram, Tony Stovic, and DF. Now on to Greg. All right, Greg, welcome to White Centipede Noise Podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me. Great to finally meet, and that we got to do this. And before I introduce you and give the people my take on who you are and what you do, can you please introduce yourself?
I'm Greg. I run Dada Drumming and also Fail Association since 2003. Both of them since 2003.
Okay.
Live in Fort Worth, Texas. The almighty Texas.
Yeah. So you're from Texas, and that's always been a big part of, I think, the label's identity and your project's identity. And Texas noise is something you champion pretty hard.
I do.
How is Texas different from the rest of the United States, and what do you like about it?
Well, I wasn't born here. I'm actually from New York. I'm a New Yorker, native New Yorker.
Really?
But I got to Texas as fast as I could. As they say down here, well, there's just a different vibe here, and I don't know if it's the atmosphere, the weather, the heat. It really is just a really, especially in Houston. Now, I lived in Houston originally when I moved to Texas. I only moved to Fort Worth after me and my wife separated, and I've stayed here the whole time. But Houston, it's flat. Water everywhere if it rains. If it rains for 10 minutes, it's going to flood. Mm-hmm. And it's just a really different vibe down there. Westheimer, the whole scene in Houston is really it's really I don't want to say it's a strange vibe, but it's just different. It's just different than New York. New York City, gritty. I lived in New York City. It's gritty. It's what you see on TV. Houston, I think, is even dirtier. Or it was. It may not be anymore. I think they probably cleaned it up a little bit. But, it's just a different vibe. You can tell that by Richard's stuff, right?
Yeah.
It really is a different vibe.
Yeah. Were you living in Houston when Richard was really active?
Yeah, I was.
He's been really active kind of the entire time, but I
moved to Houston in 1991 and then came to Fort Worth in 1998. And to tell you the truth, I never heard of Noise, Richard Ramirez, Black Leather Jesus, Deadline Recordings the whole time. And I knew a lot of people who were in the industrial scene, and I hung out in Westheimer, Numbers, the famous club down on Westheimer in Houston. Hung out with a bunch of those types down there. Never heard of it. It was you're talking about underground? That's underground. It's not even there until I got to Fort Worth. And then I just was looking for more music, and eventually I found Noise through just a weird way to get there. MP3.com is honestly one of the largest influences on my music listening post 1998.
For sure,
you can find everything. That's how I found Raby's Cast. That's how I found Left-Handed Decision back in the day. So I found Zome, Ames Sanglantes, Fuck the Facts, a shit ton of bands that I still listen to this day. Death Squad.
Yeah.
When I heard Death Squad, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I was an instant fan, and I've been a fan of Michael this whole time. In fact, I just bought his book, with the CDs in it.
I'm excited for that. I'm getting
You getting
any
it?
day. Actually, tomorrow UPS is delivering a big box of them. I hope.
And it is amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing looking for $100. I mean, I was like,
Yeah.
really, $100?
Yeah.
There you go. Take my money.
Yeah, killer. So you were in Houston, but not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I always been curious about that. I mean, that's something when I talked to Scott Houston about. I've always been curious about the Houston scene because there's this Deadline catalog, and it's so full of so many names and so many releases and different people too, and a lot of them you just don't know who they are, and it's like I always am wondering, was it maybe just a small network of people just doing their own thing, and kind of in retrospect looks like a big scene, or was it really like that's always fascinating to me, like what the real life.
Huge, but I didn't know about it when I lived there.
Yeah.
There could have been 50 people, 60 people, 70 people doing it. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe ask Richard.
Yeah.
A lot of projects are Richard, though. Let's be fair.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
No, it's very cool, and that's something. That's another thing I like about, or that's I talked to my last guest Robert Fuchs about this, is like kind of this notion of a noise label, like. A noise label just becomes a noise label in some sense when you make 5 copies of something and put it together yourself and give it to someone.
Yeah. When you decide to make multiple copies of something, you become a label.
And then you decide, okay, I'm going to put a little
name on
title label on it, and that's a label, But it's maybe just, but you can kind of create this interesting illusion of what you're doing. Not illusion, but you can kind of.
No, illusion's the right word. Illusion's the right word.
Create this other world, you can kind of create a bigger importance than, just I made something and I recorded it, here it is. You can make
pre-internet.
Yeah, exactly.
Pre the proliferation of the internet.
Yeah.
You could have 75 releases on your label, all from different names, and they could all be you.
Exactly.
And nobody would ever know.
Yeah.
Never know. You'd never know. Until now. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. But it's like, and I like the way people talk about something. Oh, warehouse find, or I got to check the storage space. It's like most of these so-called warehouses look like this, a living room with a shelf. Yeah.
Right there. Yeah, exactly.
So I really like that.
It's funny you say that, because I remember reading alt.noise back in the day, the Usenet group. That's how I found a lot of stuff too. And it was always, posts there were always like they were, basically like they were Sony records.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It was always funny to read that stuff. I mean, but who knows? They may be huge. All you're reading is words on the internet. You don't know that this guy from Germany actually has some warehouse where he's got 15,000 copies of this record by Operation Clean Sweep. You don't know. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think it's even cooler than when you meet some of these people, where you get like the inside scoop and you realize, oh, this is like someone had just made this in their kitchen. They hand pasted this stuff together, and it's like, and it's really that
it means
intimate. It means much more.
Because when you go, this dude had hands on this.
Exactly.
He put it together himself. He pressed record on the tape.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So
a lot of the old tapes from the 90s and 2000s that I have, I will never get rid of them. I'm not going to sell them. There's no reason to, because they had hands on them.
Yes.
People actually physically made these.
Exactly.
Bled blood on the gauze, like in the G. Horster's tape I have from Mother Savage.
Exactly.
Yeah, that type of stuff.
Exactly. So Dada Drumming was a label that when I kind of got into noise in the mid 2000s was really active, and it was kind of like an institution at the time. Can you tell me about the origins of the label and what made you want to start a label in the first place?
What made me want to start the label in the first place was to release the Deadly Orifice Praying God split. That's why it got started. I think they were talking about doing the release and trying to find a label to do it, or if they couldn't find anybody to do it. And we're talking about, this is back on the Noiseman 433 board. Were you ever there?
Mm-hmm. No.
You okay. This is pre-Tronics board, Noiseman 433. And there was a subsection of it for people, just the weirdos, basically. Senseless Destruction. And that's where Kevin Novak hung out, Robert hung out, Eddie Ward hung out, Scott 444, Dion from Black Mayonnaise. All these guys were all there. And it was kind of like a containment forum, like you would call it today, I guess.
Yeah.
And, but it was, honestly, it was better than the main board as far as I was concerned. And so they were talking. I was like, I'll do it. I'll release it. I'll do that right now, And so that's how Dada Drumming became. And I'll be honest with you, I had no intentions whatsoever of starting a label. I didn't. None. I was just, I like noise. I liked noise before I found any of that stuff. The board and people, I liked noise. I bought it and listened to it. And I was just going to make noise. I was going to be content with that. But then that one thing happened, and now here I am.
Yeah, and the diversion I thought of was, I want to stay on this track of the label, but one thing I've always heard stories about Deadly Orifice, or I've heard something about Deadly Orifice, but I don't know much about Deadly Orifice at all. Can you tell me and tell the people who is Deadly Orifice and what he was all about, or is all about?
He is noise incarnate, I think, honestly. He's really, really passionate about noise. He's a little nuts, and he's been banned from a lot of places because of his antics. He's messed up more than a few shows, I think. And but I've always kind of like been the dad figure for him. He stayed at my house. I've picked him up from places, given him money, done things like that. I respect Robert a lot, and he knows a lot about noise. About noise. Pre-internet, he is stuck in the internet to this day. But Robert knows a lot about noise. He's very knowledgeable about noise. He's very knowledgeable about making noise as well. Mm-hmm. He's as far as I'm concerned, he's a great guy. A lot of people don't like him in Texas. A lot of people won't have him at their house.
Sure.
Won't have him at their shows.
Why?
Senseless destruction. How about that?
Okay.
He ends up, Back in the day, we all used to drink heavily. Heavily. And a lot of shows were just disasters because we were all drunk. Kevin would tell you if you asked him about that. He had to help me plug in my gear. Shit was backwards and nothing was working right. And it's just because we're so drunk. I mean, honestly, fucking drunk. That's just the way it was. I don't drink anymore. I've been sober for 10, 11 years. 12 years.
Cool. Nice.
Completely straight edge, basically.
That's great.
But he would drink and he would start to mouth off or start to break things and start to do this and start to do that. And, a lot of it came to a head at the Justin Yeldon show in Denton. There's like an internet fable about that show where he, was arrested and beat a woman up, but none of that happened. Yeah, none of that actually happened. Yeah, he did try to stand in front of a train and kill himself, but I saved him from that. Yeah. It was crazy. And then I had to take him home in my car, and he bled all over my car. Yeah. Jeez. But there's stories out there that he was actually arrested and all kinds of stuff happened, but it never happened.
Okay.
I made that not happen for him.
Okay. Good.
Yeah,
what's he up to today?
He lives in Austin. He's not involved in the noise scene besides what I do with stuff that I have from him with the with our AFDOA, however you say it.
Yeah. That's right.
I've done 2 tapes so far with that because I have some of his material still, and he sends me videos every once in a while of him rambling and saying things, and I'll run that through some gear and record it, and then I'll make another tape at some point. I've got all the titles for the next tape already. Cool. I just need to actually make it, but I'm so far behind on a bunch of other stuff I need to do that may back burner. But I'm supposed to do at some point, hopefully, he will actually do something for me, a Deadly Orifice Mote split.
Whoa, nice. That's killer.
Yeah. And he's both of them are all for it, so hopefully we'll get that at some point.
That would be great.
Yeah.
So
but he is kind of a legend in the noise scene in Texas. But
definitely.
But for not reasons that you want to be a legend, I guess.
Right.
Unless you're Robbie,
Yeah.
Then you are. Yeah.
Killer. That's I know a character. I mean, I think a lot of cities have similar characters. There's a different, but there's a guy in Minneapolis that's I have the same kind of sentimentality towards him.
Yeah.
He's in some way also a genius, but he's also been terrible destructive nuisance to a lot of people. And but yeah, that's I definitely have a soft spot for such characters.
Yeah, I would consider Robert a genius. I really do.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've known him long enough, and I've seen what he's capable of, and I've seen what he's done, and I've heard him talk, and I've seen him write, and I would believe he's a genius. Yeah. Noise genius, maybe. He just doesn't have enough stuff out there. I mean, Ron put out his record, so he thought enough of him to do that.
That's killer.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the label, back to Dada Drumming. So we kind of just have talked about this idea of what is a label and when does it become a label and why do you start a label. What is in your opinion, what is the purpose of a label?
To put out music. Put out music you like.
And what are the what are the responsibilities of a label, like towards the artists, towards the scene, towards yourself? What are some things that you
making sure they get paid? Making sure they get copies or money. The artist should always get paid. As far as I'm concerned, you should always get paid. It's your
money?
It's your product. Well, yeah, why not? If you're doing a major release, and you should offer. I've offered, and some people have said no. Some people have said yes, and I don't have any problem. And I've paid people to create the work. Yeah. I've got money out right now to people to create the work. Yeah. And I think that's kind of important. It probably doesn't happen a lot in the noise scene, but I think you show respect to people that way. Yeah. But let's be fair. You're not going to give somebody $500 to make them a C20. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. A tape. We're going to deal with copies there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless he lives, or she lives, on the other side of the world, and they would much rather just get money in lieu of the copies, then that's an accommodation that should be made. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's interesting because I think that's very uncommon in the noise scene. And I understand why people don't have that at their disposal all the time, but don't you think that should be done more? And maybe
major artists, and when I say major artists, I mean major artists in the noise scene. People who've been around for a long time. I wouldn't say they should command the respect from them to you, but they should command the respect from you to them.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's important thing to remember. I think as younger people get involved. It's not that you need to kiss ass to somebody. I think showing respect to people is always a good thing.
It's not kissing ass, and it's not stroking them. It's just a matter of showing them respect. Hey, they've been doing this for 20 years, and they're good musicians. It's not about beep, boop, 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 beep. It's that they're good musicians. They know what they're doing. They should get the respect of the community for that.
Exactly, and
on that point, Akihiro Shimizu, third organ, was telling me that he asked somebody to take down something that they had put up, and they gave him a bunch of shit about it on YouTube, I guess, and just talked really bad to him, really down to him, and do you know who this guy is, right? Maybe it doesn't matter to you, but it matters to me. And I told him, I said, man, if I ever find out who this guy is, we'll see if something can happen about it. It just ain't. It's just not right.
No, it's not right. And I think that's an interesting situation with the Bandcamp thing nowadays too. Is that I think it's sort of the norm that people just upload when they release, say, a tape, they upload it to Bandcamp and sell the digital copies for whatever, and usually don't really check with the artist or offer to split, digital sales or anything like that. And I think that's just bizarre that people don't think of that.
Digital sales should be 50-50. After recoup, you should be paying somebody 50% of what you make on Bandcamp. If you're not, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah,
you're doing it completely wrong.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't make any money, well, that's a different story. You should have to wait until you do. But you should always know when you do. Yeah. And when you do, you should start cutting that pie up. Yeah. Guys should make money.
Exactly. People should make money. And I think it's also if you're an artist say you're an older artist, especially, and you're not necessarily super involved in the trading and the forums and all this stuff. You do your music. I mean, and someone puts out an LP or puts out as a CD. Do you really need 50 copies or 100 copies that you're going to have to sell and peddle yourself? It's like,
I hope Incapacitants have been getting paid for all the stuff that everybody's been releasing. I hope they have. I'm curious too. And in fact, I even posted on that forum that, I'm glad to see it. So hopefully they're making money, from all this stuff. I'm not a big reissue guy. I don't reissue stuff. Yeah. I don't offer to reissue anything from anybody. I just, I like new, keep going, forward. I want to see your new stuff. But, there's been 1,000, I can't even count how many Incapacitants released. They've released every single thing that they've ever released twice or 3 times, in fact. Yeah. So hopefully they're making money on it. Yeah. Like the label, and it shouldn't be a matter of, hey, are you going to pay me for this? It should be a matter of the label is going to go, I'm going to give you this much for it. Right. Yeah. I can't imagine that they're sitting there with thousands of dead stock CDs and tapes and vinyls that they're selling on Discogs themselves, Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's interesting, but it's Macau is selling LP Incapacitants LPs on Discogs because he can't get rid of them. No, I don't think so. Macau should be making money. Yeah, he should be getting paid. Yeah, that's the way it is. For sure. How do you curate what you put out on the label? Because I think of you as a noise level, but you've put out some very diverse things. Particularly recently, you've put out some alternative rock records. Rabies Cast. It's kind of like a noisy sludge band. Yeah. Well, to be fair, I did release them back in 2006 too. Of course. I mean, I'm just saying in general. I mean, you've done that throughout the whole label's run. What's your curation process? It's, do I like it? Do I like you? Do I like the band? Yeah. That's basically my curation process. I will favor people from Texas first if I can. If it's not good, then it's not good. That's just the way it is. But if you're from Texas and you do, noise and you're pretty good at it, I'll put it out if I can. I'll do whatever I can for you. You gotta support, the community around you first. Yeah. And I believe that. And that's in fact when the label started, with Robert, he's from Dallas, Deadly Orifice. Yeah. And that's the first local thing I did was the first thing I did, Cool. Yeah. The bands I worked with here locally, the rock bands I worked, they're local. I put out their records. And then in your working relationship with them, I mean, you've described that you like to particularly pay respect, and you do gestures, which you like. This, like, I'll be straight up. This gesture of paying people is, I think, very uncommon, and I commend you for it. But I think it's very, very uncommon. Yeah. But how does that working relationship develop? Because you also work with certain artists multiple times, whereas some labels will kind of just do one thing, and it's kind of you get the sense they just get a master and then put it out. But you seem to come back to people and have certain people you really are close with. Yeah. Well, my friends. I like to put out music by my friends. The alternative rock record the CD that I just put out. I've known Mike since I was 14 years old. Cool. We just never did anything prior to that because he was in doing his thing and I'm doing my thing. But I like to keep it close. Close. There's a lot of people that I would release records from that I like, but I've just never approached them ever. Sure. Never. And I have approached a lot of people that I do like that I would like to do a record for, and they're like, nah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, that happens. It happens too. Yeah. What am I gonna do? Yeah. I can't. You don't want to put out a record? Okay. That's fine. I'll never ask again. For sure. So can you tell me a little bit, like, I kind of distracted you maybe a bit, but like the chronology of Dada Drumming, because you were pretty active there for a while in the 2000s when you started, and you were pretty inactive for a while. Now you're back again pretty strong. Yeah, I was inactive twice. Oh yeah, okay. So can you kind of just tell about the 2008 to 2010? 11, 10, and then I like 12 to or 11 to 18.
Yeah.
It's family stuff, personal stuff.
Sure.
Family and personal stuff always has to come first, especially if you're just running a DIY label. And I didn't have any real obligations to anybody, so.
In the time that you were inactive with the label, releasing things, were you still kind of active in music?
Yeah. Well, not in the scene, but as far as listening and making. Yeah, I made noise the whole time. I mean, there was a couple of years where I didn't do anything. Like when I moved from where I was living originally, and I was looking to buy a house, and so I was I rented a house from a friend of mine who was a property manager, and then had to move to another house. And during that time, I had stuff packed up. I didn't do a thing. And that's probably 2.5, 3 years until I finally got where I knew what was going to happen, and then I pulled out. And then I made the Stimbox AFA record and the TEF CD.
Yeah.
I was really surprised that he hadn't done a CD between the Consequences and Conversation CD and the Framework CD. Maybe he was showing me that respect. I don't know, but
I mean,
I'm showing him that respect. I'll whatever Kevin makes, I'll put out, and he gets paid, and he deserves it. He's been around a long time. Probably doesn't get the credit he deserves at all. No, not at all. I mean, I remember hearing Magnified Healing before I even knew any of these guys, and I was like, "Fuck, what is this?" Kevin's stuff was fantastic, and then Dom's St. Francis, the track St. Francis on that fucking CD is absolutely fantastic. But the Kevin stuff is amazing, and it's early Kevin, but it's really kind of like a transition from his where he would make noise with the guitar and pedals and things like that to more of a static pedal module type stuff to where he is now. That was kind of an important step, and I think that was actually that CD was actually an important step for Prurient too, where he went from that to Body Language and then to the stratosphere basically.
Yeah, totally. And I haven't heard
that was a co-release, by the way, Hospital and TEF.
Sorry, say it again.
That was a co-release, Hospital TEF.
Oh, TEF released that himself?
No. It was a co-release with Hospital.
Oh, Dada Drumming and Hospital.
No. TEF Records. Kevin will put out stuff every once in a while too.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Magnified Healing was a co-release between TEF and Hospital.
Yes.
I found that in a record store in Houston somewhere, like north side of Houston. So I'm guessing that Richard had put it in for consignment before I even knew any of these guys back in 2001.
Oh, okay. So that TEF came out before you were in contact with him, because I see you guys as a close working relationship, and I like the fact that Consequences and Conversation. That's maybe the first one that I heard from TEF, and I'm not a huge cut up follower, but this was like, this was insane. No, Consequences
and Conversation. Yeah, it's a fantastic CD. Absolutely fantastic.
And then I think it's interesting that you say he didn't release anything between then, because I guess I would maybe assume that you guys had an agreement, but I think it sounds like there was some sort of just respect. It seems like,
or maybe he just didn't. Could have been that too, I don't want to make assumptions for Kevin, but
could be, yeah.
I'll text him and ask him. We talk pretty frequently.
But I think Framework, for example, I mean, I've been telling people Framework. I think I have it listed on my website. Like, the description I wrote is just like one of the best harsh noise releases of the past several years. It's so fucking good.
10, 12 years. Yeah.
And it's high, he's highly underrated. So I'm really always happy to hear that you're putting things out by him. I was super happy to be able to put that split between you two guys. That was killer. Yeah, and I appreciate you doing that, because I was gonna do that, but then I bought this house that I'm in now, and I couldn't spend any money. Right.
You can't do that when you're pending. You can't spend any money.
Right.
So I'm glad you did that. When I offered it to you, you were like, yeah.
Yeah, that worked out really well.
I'm gonna do for you, because it did. Nobody cared over here. Again, I mean, it's just what it is.
Well,
probably the price point.
The price point was high. It was limited 107 inch. Yep. Some people really liked it. I sold it as I right as I was starting to put it out is when Keith Brewer got the news that he was, or at least announced the news that he was very, very ill with cancer. So I kind of just decided, okay, I'm gonna, Texas. I associated Keith with Dada Drumming in some way, from the earlier releases, and I just thought, okay, I'm gonna just put the couple bucks that I can make off this record, which wasn't many, to him, and maybe that'll help sell him, because 7 inches are very hard to sell, especially at the price point. So I sold them all, but I sent him actually the money before I sold them all. So this is okay. So I'm giving the backstory to some financial stuff, but that's okay. I sent him the money before I sold him. I calculated what it was going to be, and I sent him the money, and he passed before I sold all of them. I did sell most of them by that time, but he had already passed, and I didn't feel right continuing to sell them, so I pulled them and I gave them to a few select close customers and people that, close friends. So, but I mean, they're out there. And the people who got them, it's killer. And the people who got them,
Kevin's track is out better than mine, but it's a fantastic record. Honestly, I love it. It's great.
It's super killer. It's
that
great.
Track, the track called Murderworth and the picture are tied together because that's where a friend of my son's died.
Yeah. What is that story? Can you tell that?
He stopped at a store there right at that corner in the neighborhood and got shot.
Damn.
Got shot. Dead. Girlfriend was pregnant with twins.
Damn.
Or he had a kid and had another one coming. Another friend of mine died by suicide, and I think I may be confusing the two. He had his girlfriend or his wife was pregnant with twins. Yeah, it's a sad story. It really
is. Does personal stuff influence a lot of a failed association?
Yeah, it's all personal. It's all personal, except the tape on No Rent. That was it. I mean, you want to say personal, but the whole aesthetic of it, the name and everything is more. It's more commentary on. I mean, if you can look at the title and figure out what the words mean, and then what the titles of the song mean, you can figure it out.
For sure. Yeah, that's what I get too.
And the title actually comes from a conversation I was having with a friend of mine at work, actually. And I said that chaos is a system.
Yeah.
Based on what he had said to me. And I was like, God, man, that's a great title for something. So I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
And it was in reference to something specific.
Sure.
Look at the first letters of the words.
Chaos. Okay. I'll have to, I'll have to do some research, and people listening can also double check on that.
Double check the site for that. Be able to figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll get more into a failed association in a bit, but I wanted to ask you, what do you think has changed in terms of noise scene, noise economy since you started and now with Dada Drumming?
I don't know. Honestly, because I spent a lot of time not involved in the noise scene. There was a period between 12 and 18 where I didn't do anything, and I paid no attention to what was happening in the noise scene. None. Like, whatever. I was like, if I'm not doing this, I don't want to read, see, hear, nothing. I did my thing. I still, made a little bit of sound. So I don't know what the economy was like then. I heard it was kind of a dead period. But I mean, compared to then to now, I mean, it's different. Now you've got Bandcamp where you can just upload whatever you want and hope somebody buys it. Whereas before, you had to kind of, I don't want to say put some effort into it, but because there's still a lot of effort to doing things, but it's just easier now. It's easier. Upload to Bandcamp, put a price on it, call it a day. I don't like it very much.
Yeah, what kind of effect do you think that has had on things?
Quality control, gone. Yeah, it's gone. I do peruse Bandcamp and listen to a lot of people just to see what they're doing. So I stay up on what's happening, and I don't like a lot of it. There's not a lot that I've heard that is any good. Honestly, and maybe it's people getting old, maybe it's people not doing, due diligence in the recording and their arrangements. Yeah, it's more of the same. But let me put it to you this way. But back in 2004, people were going, "Oh, yeah, this is the exact same thing somebody was doing in '95." So there's always that. If you got a guitar,
there is like
music,
kind of a
guitar music in 1970. You could say is the same as guitar music in 2010. Because the guitar makes the same sound.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of conventions being held and things like that.
Yeah. Well, conventions are important if you stick to a good convention. Yeah,
for sure. But I do think with Bandcamp, there is sort of like a parallel scene almost in a way. There are labels that
noise scene.
Yeah, and there are labels that release physical formats and also a Bandcamp version, and there are a lot of labels that release things on the physical formats and don't release anything on Bandcamp.
Yeah,
and then they're not represented on Bandcamp, and then there are people who only release on Bandcamp. And I've noticed a large number of kind of like I said, a parallel, almost isolated noise scene that is just existing on Bandcamp, and I can't speak to the quality of it. Objectively, I haven't really checked it out, but yeah, I do have the impression that it's definitely much more of a, do it for your own.
Yeah. No, I don't want to say that it's all bad because I'm sure there's some good stuff out there, and you can say the same thing about the CDR, release glut back in 2004, 2005, 2003. Everybody was doing a CDR. And just a lot of stuff just wasn't really that good.
Yeah.
Just is what it is.
Yeah.
So it's just now instead of CDRs, it's Bandcamp.
Do you think if, like, say, the production costs and fuel costs and everything, et cetera, that goes into making a physical release gets so high in the next, say, 5 years that releasing tapes in any sort of physical format is just super expensive? Do you think that could have a positive impact on the quality control because people might release less, but it's going to cost a lot and it's going to be one album?
If somebody has to spend a ton of money to do something, they're going to not spend a ton of money to do something else at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Whereas if you don't have to spend any money to do something, you can do 15 things, all at the same time. It doesn't cost me anything. But if you have to spend $7,000 to make a CD. You have $7,000 to make another CD? No, you probably don't. Not until you sell all of these. So then, there'll be, it'll compress and you won't have as many releases. And the quality will probably go up because obviously as a label, you're going to have to say, listen, it's going to cost me $7,000 to make this 500 copy CD. You better give me something really good.
Make it good, yeah,
make it good. Yeah, make it good. Then when you get it and you go, I don't know, man. You get on the phone and you go, gonna have to redo that.
Yeah. Which I like the fact that noise can always be noise is based on volume, a lot of stuff. But I wouldn't mind seeing it. I wouldn't mind seeing it reduce a bit of the volume and have the quality really be kind of.
Yeah, I've got a ton of stuff. Just a ton. It's almost a glut of stuff. Because I don't sell. When I get something, I don't sell it. I keep it.
Yeah.
If somebody gives me something, definitely doesn't sell it. I don't even have a Discogs, selling thing. I have a Discogs, I buy stuff.
Yeah.
I buy stuff.
Yeah.
I don't sell it.
Yeah.
And I have a shit ton of stuff right now. And, there's always going to be that in the noise scene because it's relatively easy, to make noise. It's not relatively easy to make good noise. It's relatively easy to make noise. We all know that because when we started, it was relatively easy to make noise.
Yeah.
And then you're a musician, I don't know, do you play any instruments? Play guitar or bass or anything? Yeah, I play drums. So to be a good musician, you practice. And Just like making noise. You practice. You keep doing it. You do it and do it and do it and do it, and then something clicks, and you get to that point where you're, all right, this is pretty good. But now all you got to do is just go, and upload it to Bandcamp, and you're a noise artist. And more power to you if that's what you want. Absolutely. But don't expect people to spend money on it.
What do you think motivates people to become a new noise artist? Or what do you think motivates someone to decide, I'm going to make noise myself?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, because I don't want to say that they're failed musicians and they're looking for an easy scene to get into to make, because I'm sure there is plenty of that. Yeah. But I mean, you try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt that they're interested in making music and they actually like noise, and they actually like listening to noise, and so that transfers itself to making noise, and they actually like the process of making noise. I'm sure there's a ton of people out there who don't like the process of making noise who do it, and I'm sure there's a ton of people out there who don't actually listen to noise, don't like noise. They say they like noise. Oh yeah, I love noise. Do you really? I'm sure there's a ton of people out there.
There is.
You get that with any scene. What's the famous David Coverdale quote about he doesn't even listen to rock music?
Right.
He listens to Beethoven. But he was a multi-platinum artist, with multiple bands. So do you necessarily have to? Not necessarily. Does it help? Absolutely, because then you know what's happening.
Right.
How people do things, how you should do things.
Yeah.
How you should make noise.
Yeah.
Not saying you have to make noise like anybody else, and you shouldn't, but like guitarists, all guitarists sound different, and they're using the same instrument. So,
right.
I take it like that.
Sure. So when you returned with the label in this last kind of run, I don't know if it was 2018.
Yeah, 18 is when I started. When I started getting stuff together, that's when I got back in. I hadn't talked to Kevin in probably 3 years.
Wow.
And we go a long time without talking to each other. Like in between the time the CD was released and we did that, and then I said we contracted to do the next one. There was times where we didn't speak to like 5-6 months. Just if a man doesn't want to talk, you don't make him talk. And then now we talk a lot again. But 2018, I started getting things together about what I wanted to do. And originally, I was only going to do myself and Kevin. That was the original intent of me redoing the labels. Like, all right, yeah, I'm ready. I've got things lined up in my life. I know what's happening. I'll do that. And then, of course, that didn't happen. I started releasing other people. Yeah, it just like I said, just snowballed.
Yeah. So tell me about the
I'd like to get back to that, honestly.
Yeah.
I'd like to get back to that.
Tell me about the Stimbox A Fail Association split that you put out, because that was a surprise. That's a great record.
Yeah. I had that track since 2004 from Tim. It was originally going to be a split with, and now I've just lost the name. Damn it. LA guy. Long hair. Back then. I don't know if he's got long hair now. Circuit Wound.
Okay.
Circuit Wound.
Yeah.
Originally going to be a Circuit Wound Stimbox split C30. And I was getting ready to make it. And Jay, now everything's coming back to me. Jay emailed me and goes, hey, I don't want to do that anymore. Forget it.
Okay. So
it just sat in the top of my closet for that entire time.
Wow.
And then so I was going through my stuff, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to see if Jay, and maybe Jay, because I saw Jay was active again. I don't think he stopped doing stuff for a while.
Right.
And that may be one of the reasons he didn't want it coming out. So I emailed Jay, and I emailed Tim. I actually had to go on Discogs to get Tim, and then he gave me his email again because he doesn't want anybody contacting him.
Right.
I never heard back from Jay, ever.
Okay.
Never heard back. Tim was like, yeah, if you want to do it, do it. It's like, okay, cool, thank you. And then I emailed him and said, hey, man, I never heard from Jay. Do you mind if I do me and you? He goes, do whatever you want.
Cool.
So I sent you the track, it's yours. So yeah, and it was originally going to be a tape, and I started making the tapes, and I just didn't like the way they sounded. I didn't like the way my track sounded on tape, so I said, you know what? I'm just going to do a record. Okay. Tim deserves it.
Yeah.
You know, Tim deserves some respect.
For sure.
So I made a record. And that's what happened. And I sent it to him. I didn't even tell him. That's the funny part, is I didn't even tell him. He just thought it was going to be a tape. Yeah. And then I was like, hey, man, I made an LP. He's like, really? Like, yeah. So I sent it to him, and he emailed me back when he got it. He goes, man, you hit it out of the park with this, man. I really appreciate it. And that's, I showed Tim some respect, because he's another one that I found on mp3.com. Or in the early days. Stimbox was up there. And his stuff blew me away too, and I'm still a fan to this day. I have probably more Stimbox than anybody besides the Roaring.
Wow.
Yeah, I've got almost everything, almost.
And what was his reaction to the LP? And
like I said, he said I knocked it out of the park. He thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, but has there been any follow up? Or
No. He does. He's got no involvement in the noising whatsoever.
Okay.
Doesn't want any involvement. And I've never even hit him up for anything else, because show the guy the respect. He doesn't want it.
Right.
He's out of the noise scene. He doesn't want to be involved.
Right.
So, don't pester the guy. Same thing with Hideki, Crack Fears.
Yep.
We were originally going to do something, me and him, and in fact I still have some Crack Fears that hasn't been released, and I emailed him and I said, hey man, we were going to do this back in the day. We were actually going to do speaking of, I don't like reissues, but back then we were going to do a reissue of Felony Noise, because I have the master tape for that. Rotten Peace gave me, from their label, and we were going to do a reissue of that on CD back then. And then I don't know why all these names are just going away, but Trash Ritual actually had the Crack Fears, and he was like, I don't like it. He didn't like it. He's like, it's like, I was like, man, send it to me. I'll release it, because I love Crack Fears.
Yeah.
He's fucking fantastic. The odd noise. He's just an odd guy. Odd noise. It's not straight ahead harsh noise. It's really Japa noise, man. It's just strange noise. Kind of like Deadly Orifice.
Yeah.
And so I had it the whole time, and I emailed him. I was like, hey man, Hideki, are you interested in releasing this? And he emailed me back. He's like, I'm out of the noise scene. I don't even want it to appear anywhere.
Okay.
I was like, okay. Never bother him about it again.
Yeah, that's legit. I mean, I've heard that about him too, and there's always this kind of feeling, oh, come on, someone's got to convince him. But yeah, you're right. I mean,
don't do that. Don't show the guy the respect. He doesn't want to be involved. He doesn't want to get asked.
Yeah.
He doesn't want you to bother him about it. Leave him alone.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah. Don't bother a man when he says no.
Did you sell out of the Stimbox AFA split, or do you have them still?
No. I still have some copies, but I just deleted it. I just took it. I just took it off.
Why?
Yeah, I felt it had its run.
Okay.
I can do that with my stuff, as far as I'm concerned. I can take it out of circulation whenever I want. It's got my name on it, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
So that's true.
I did the same thing with the Yellow Pearl tape. I still had copies of that. Just took it out of circulation.
Tell me about the recent one on Prosnag, because that has some sort of connection to those, doesn't it? Yeah. It's got the track Live in HCTX from the Yellow Pearl tape, which is the first track on side B. Yeah.
On it as the third track. And then the fourth track is me and Deadly Orifice back in Houston in 2004 performing together. We've done that multiple times, but that was the best recording I have of it. And then the second track I made specifically for that, Down South. And then the other one was Stimbox remix, talking about Stimbox, was the remix of the Stimbox track on that LP that I recorded multiple times through my gear, and then mixed with his and cut up and made it what it is. I think it's really good.
Yeah, it's
honestly.
very good.
I think it's really good, and again, showing Stimbox that respect.
definitely. He's you got to respect him if he wants out, but I think it's a shame that he doesn't get more recognition, like a lot of artists,
Yeah, well, out of sight, out of mind, right? People are forgotten.
That's how it works. That's how it works, unfortunately.
It happens not just in the noise scene; it happens everywhere. Think about who was the top pop artist 5 years ago. Can you tell me who that was?
Yeah. No,
There you go.
I can't.
I couldn't even tell you top pop artists now, but it just is what it is.
Yeah. So, in your working with artists and through the label, and also with as an artist, I get the sense that you're much more kind of hands-on, and you are meeting people maybe personally, calling them up on the phone. There's more of a direct relationship going on.
Yeah.
How was that working with Sam McKinley and Keith on the True Ass Worship release?
I don't even remember how that came about, honestly. But it was fine. I mean, it was email. I mean, I knew Sam. I had met Sam prior to that because he had come through on tour with Oscillating Innards and Pedestrian Deposit. Mm-hmm. And they stayed at my apartment. And in fact, Sam stayed longer than them, and I drove him to the airport. So I'd met Sam and talked to him and spent time with him before that. So, and obviously the split with PCRB, I think, is a fantastic tape too. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Sam's stuff. And I don't remember how that came about, but there's all kinds of personal connections involved in that too, through Keith and like the pictures, and there really is some stuff that I probably shouldn't talk about in public. But
I got the sense that I got the sense that some of those pictures in there were not taken from the internet, so to speak.
No, they weren't. They weren't. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you a funny story about making that though. That record is I think I did it to United Record Pressing. And I sent it to him, and I said I chose the option to do the bottom of the barrel, to whatever color would come out, because I thought that would be kind of cool. Let's just see what happens. Yeah. And I got it back. Do you have a copy of that?
At home and back in Minneapolis, yeah.
Okay. I don't even have a copy of that anymore. I have the tapes that came with it. I have a couple copies.
Prized possession.
Yes. And the record, when I got the records, they were really, really thin and brittle. And so I emailed Keith and I was like, "Hey man, there's a good chance that somebody opens this and takes it out. It's going to break." And he emailed back. He said, "Good. I hope it breaks in somebody's hands." Yeah, it was hilarious.
Are they that brittle? I don't.
Yeah, they are. They're really, really thin, man. Whenever you get back and look at it at some point.
I remember that color, that great purplish color.
It's like a pinkish purple. Yeah. I don't know if even they still do that option anymore, the bottom of the barrel. They just pick whatever's on the bottom of the barrel, they just scoop it out. That's what they make the record from.
That's gnarly.
Yeah. But that was a really cool release. That was all handmade, man. I did all that myself in my kitchen in my apartment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I annoyed the shit out of my girlfriend at the time, too.
I bet.
Doing that. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't even save a copy for myself. Sold them all.
Yeah. Had to get it out of the house?
Huh? No.
Had to get it? No.
I'm never worried about any of that stuff. Yeah. That's funny, too, that you say that, because I know there's a lot of noise people who are afraid of their girlfriends or their wives, Yeah. Oh, I can't do that around her. Yeah. But I didn't even save a copy. I have still about 3 or 4 of the 7 inches left, because I think I did 200 maybe, or 100. I don't even. Was it 200? I think it's probably 200.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't even remember, honestly. But I had extras, obviously, over 10%. So I have 3 of the tapes and 4 or 5 of the 7 inches still. Yeah. I should probably frame the 7
for sure.
Inches. Yeah.
Would you be against a reissue?
Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keith's dead.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to reissue something from somebody who's dead. They can't say yes or no.
Yeah. How do you feel about that in general? That phenomenon.
Me personally, I wouldn't do it unless I owned the master and I had paid for it previously. then of course you've paid somebody for the money or for the master, and you've given them money. Now they've passed in the interim, but you still owe it. I would probably do it, but do it for cost. I wouldn't make any money on it. I'd feel bad. I wouldn't feel right about making money off somebody that's dead.
It's a difficult it's a difficult situation. I on the one hand, it's like people's legacy should be continued on, but at the same time, how can you profit off of someone who's dead?
Well, in a scene like this, in a small scene like this. Now, you were talking about major artists who die. Obviously you have contractual obligations, and your label owns your masters, and your estate is still getting paid royalties, and you're getting publishing. Your estate's still getting publishing, things like that. Now that's a completely different story. But in a small scene like this, where there's 100 people or 400 people, 500 people buying stuff, you kind of got to respect the fact that the guy's dead.
Right.
But that's just me.
Yeah.
I'm not telling anybody what to do or how to operate a business.
You might not be aware, but there's Tommy Carlson has been doing, since he passed, reissues of the Swedish tapes at cost, and he has this flyer. He's probably sent me 1,000 of these flyers. And he has a tribute to Keith, and you can order through email, and he sells them at He sells them at cost for.
Oh, he doesn't make any money on them.
No.
There you go. Now that is a man showing respect.
Yeah, exactly. So
that should be applauded right there.
It is, yeah, exactly. I send these out with tons of packages. I probably send 1,000 of these out, and he gets emails regularly about them. In case anyone doesn't know, you can email Tommy and get those 3, the one on Harshhead Rituals, Abisko, and Vemod for cost. Mania tapes, yeah.
I think I have the Harshhead Rituals and the Abisko one. I don't have the other one, though. I never heard of that. Is that a label?
Vemod, was a Swedish label. I don't know too much about it, but it's one of those 2006, came out in 2006, called If They Move, Kill 'Em. So I think Tommy's a good example of someone who does that right.
That's an admirable thing. Don't make any money on it. Now keep it going, unless somebody from his family emails you or calls you and says, "Hey, stop that shit."
Right? Yeah.
But if you got money tied up in this already, and somebody dies, now that's your decision.
Right.
You've already spent money. You've already done something. Financially. Now, unless you just want to eat the cost, which you more than happy to do if that's what you want to do. Or out, one of the two. It's your call. I'm not telling anybody how to do anything, and I'm not talking down to anybody about doing anything or how they want to handle it.
And everyone has different situations. And I think there are some people like for example, I think Freak Animal still has some masters that they had agreed on, and I think had some sort of verbal agreement with Keith that he kind of has permission to.
He's got it in writing, right?
I don't know, but there's
yeah. Well,
there are certain relationships.
One of the two.
Yeah. Sorry, what was that? I didn't hear.
They talked on the phone or they sent emails, detailing what happened. I'm sure Keith made some sort of arrangements with Miko before he passed. I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly.
And that should be respected. Miko's going to do the right thing. I don't think Miko's going to do the wrong thing.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll do it right or he won't do it at all.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's the way Miko operates. He'll do it right or he won't do it at all.
Yeah, that's true. In your career running the label, are there any things that you regret or consider endeavors or releases that didn't pan out that you regret or they kind of failed or didn't go how you wanted to and you pulled the plug or anything like that?
No, not really. I don't think there's anything besides the Hasegawa LP, which I think is an overlooked gem, honestly.
Yes.
And even the Moat record, the picture disc, I still have plenty of copies of that.
Yeah.
What are people waiting for? It's a great record. But no, from 2003 to now, I don't regret any release. I think everything I've done, and I mean, I've been going for almost 20 years now, with breaks in between, obviously.
Yeah.
But I haven't even hit 100 releases yet.
Yeah.
I'm still on like 92, and that's not even accurate because I've got numbers before that haven't happened yet.
Right.
Like the TEF CD is like 70.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, because when we talked about doing the next one, I created a catalog number for it and a folder, and it just hadn't happened until now, and he's finally got it done, and so there's some numbers out there that haven't happened yet.
Yeah.
15 hasn't happened yet, probably never will. Yeah.
What is it?
I'm not going to tell you. And there is another release out there that is just one copy. One copy. It's me. It's an Fail Association release, and I gave that to Robert. And it's a one copy release. I don't even know if he has it anymore, but I gave it.
Is it a Dada Drumming release?
Yeah, it's an actual release. Yeah, just one copy. Yeah.
Nice.
You'll never see the light of day.
Why do you like to keep certain releases kind of limited, or why do you pull the plug on things, or why do you like to have specific kind of limitations on certain releases?
Well, there is a ceiling on this type of stuff. There really is, and especially if you're doing like a special like handmade type of stuff. There's a ceiling, you know, and you're not making 1,000 copies of something by hand and then holding on to 750 of them for 15 years. It's just not going to happen. Now, a lot of stuff didn't have numbers on it early on. I never put numbers on anything. A few things of mine, but I didn't put numbers on things because if you wanted it, I could make it for you.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of them weren't that hard to make. A lot of the tapes, I would just, if I ran out of the copies I made, I would normally make 50 to 75 to 100 of the tapes before I released it and send the artist his split and then sell or trade or whatever the rest. And then if I ran out, if you wanted to buy it, if it was still available, I would make it for you.
Yeah.
Now, recently I've started numbering stuff because there is a ceiling, honestly. There is, and for physical formats, there is a ceiling. I mean, there's not a ceiling for Bandcamp. You know, it's 15,000 downloads, whatever. You know, but there is a ceiling, and I don't delete stuff from other people.
Yeah.
If other artists, I respect their work. You know, and if I've gone to where I've made all the money on it, made all the money back. And especially on digital, like a lot of the TEF stuff, I reissued a lot of the TEF stuff, older stuff.
Yes.
He gets paid for all that. Cool. Anybody downloads that money goes to Kevin. It doesn't go to me.
Cool.
You know, and I'd appreciate it if you would, because a lot of that stuff is really good.
Yes.
Early TEF, and all that money goes to him. I pay royalties for digital.
Yeah.
Spotify streaming and things like that, and YouTube and iTunes downloads. If I make money on it, you're getting a cut. I'm sending you a check.
Yeah.
And you know, people have gotten paid.
That's cool.
Yeah. But people have to listen, people have to download for that to happen. You know, you just can't write somebody a check for nothing.
Of course.
But if they do, and that's the important thing about Bandcamp, is if you've got 150 people that have downloaded that fucking thing, and you haven't paid anybody for that, that's not right. It's not right. That guy should have got paid.
Yeah.
It is.
What's been your approach to like advertising and marketing? And also, you made the decision to put a lot of the discography of Dada Drumming is on Spotify and things like that. You know, I was just listening to the Hasegawa LP, the double LP on there, for example, which, like you said, is highly underrated. It's a fantastic LP.
It was even better live.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, of course.
Oh, it was absolutely fucking amazing, and everybody who saw those shows was just blown away by.
I saw him in New York once at End Times in 2014. It's one of the best noise sets I've ever seen.
It is absolutely fantastic seeing that guy work.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And the album turned out really good.
Absolutely.
Looks great. Carlos Pozo did the artwork for that. That's original artwork by Carlos. did the layout.
Yeah.
And it's just absolutely fantastic record.
Yeah. And you also, how did you advertise it, or how do you advertise your records? How do you promote them?
Well, I advertised that in The Wire. I ran an ad for 2 months in a row in The Wire, listing you and was it how do you say that? Tord Lud?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. As the people to get it from in Europe, because obviously The Wire is a European magazine.
Yeah.
UK. I don't know if it helped you guys or not, but I spent the money to do that. Yeah.
Respect. Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's a slow burner, but it's definitely a fucking killer record. I'm pretty much sold out of them at this point, and I should probably get some more from you, because I think that's something people need to hear. Yeah, for sure. And the Mote record. I mean, I didn't know you still had those.
Yeah. Amazingly, I do. I saw somebody was, I think, was it Connolly said that it was like mandatory record from 2020 or 2021, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever year I released it, and like on Discogs, I think somebody says it's like an absolutely mandatory record. It's a fantastic record.
It is.
He blew me away when he sent that to me, honestly. There was a couple things, now, to be fair, that I told him needed to change. And he did, respectfully, change them for me, and made it even better as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And then I said, this is so good. This record is so good, I want you to remix some of this stuff so we can do a CD of it. Yeah. And he did.
Which is also a great album, a great release.
Yeah.
Well, and I should get more of those, because I think like you said, it is kind of out of sight, out of mind. That there's so much volume of stuff that comes out in the noise world, and I have, my distro. I try to get everything. I try to get literally everything that I think is of interest or good. So I mean,
you for that as well, for trying to get everything.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if it's good, at least a few copies should be over on this side of the fucking ocean, So I had them, and they sold pretty quickly, but I kind of thought it was sold out. And I think once people aren't seeing it in the site, people maybe just, and I didn't know you had sold copies, so it's
still listed. In fact, somebody had emailed me about buying some stuff from me, and I was like, it's from Germany, and I said, contact Oscar at White Center. Cool. He's probably got them.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'll have to get a fat restock from you pretty soon then. So now back to a fail association.
Actually, you were talking about advertising. I have done some advertising. I mean, I've made some postcards and sent them out and mailed out. I mailed out a bunch of postcards for the last batch that I made, just to people, to mail them out. I think you probably got some. I think I sent some to you. Postcards and with the
in a package. Yes.
I actually I addressed those and mailed them to customers. Everybody who bought something from me.
That's very cool.
Before it came out, and then I put it up on the website after I mailed them and didn't announce it. It just put it up there, and I sold a bunch of the stuff before I even announced it.
Yeah. Through postcard.
Through postcard. See, in fact, somebody I don't remember what he even bought from me before, but he was in my customer list, and I sent him, and he emailed me. He goes, "Hey man, I got this postcard. I'm taking a chance and buying this stuff from you." I was like, "Fantastic, thank you."
That's great. That's so cool, and that makes such a big difference. And I think more people should really put more effort into advertising or promoting, in the sense of making a post on Instagram isn't enough. And people do that, and then they kind of complain, "Oh, why isn't anyone?"
It's where everybody is, though, right?
It is where everyone is, and you can post on Instagram. That's fine. But I mean, that's fine. But I think going outside of those easiest methods really makes a difference.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, I've advertised in the magazine that Miko did. I've done a few other things. I even did some ads on Spotify. You probably never heard of them. I don't know if anybody ever did. I mean, it costs money to do those, but I did them because I'm just trying to generate some interest in things. I'm willing to spend money on you if I really like the stuff. Yeah. I will. I'll if I have to operate at a loss, I'll operate at a loss. That's just the way it is. I mean, this is for love more than anything. I didn't buy a new car from stuff I've sold. It just didn't happen. I bought a new car for my own, my own money. The Dada stuff is completely separate. I try to keep that money separate, but I inject my own funds into it to keep things operating, because that's just the way it is.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's how it should be. I mean, I think that's how it is for most people, but I think I really respect that you put real money up. And
and I'm not afraid to. A lot of people are. A lot of people are afraid to. I'm not afraid to spend money on things at all. because it's art, it's product,
Yeah.
it's art, it's somebody's art. I mean, you send me a CD for release, it's your art. Now, I may tell you something needs to change. You know, I don't like this, I don't like that. I've been told that, and that's fine. But yeah, I'm gonna invest a little bit of time and try to sell your product, try to sell your stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's yours, you know, and I should try to sell it.
And that's respect.
At the same time, if I do something for myself, I just put it out.
Yeah.
I don't try to advertise myself.
That's how a lot of people. That's how
I'll be honest with you.
do.
I think that my stuff is really good. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of my own noise.
Yeah.
Because you have to. You have to listen to your own stuff.
Definitely.
So you know whether you're doing, you know, good or bad, you know, sounds and how to arrange things. But I don't do a lot of advertising my own stuff. I don't even think I don't really even put my stuff up from other labels on my site. There's a few things up, but I've got a few more things that I haven't even put the Pros Naga disc up yet.
It's very good. I'm sold out already, but I'll hopefully get some more.
Are you? That's fantastic. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I'll get some more for sure.
Yeah, Will says it's unlimited, so you know, he'll just make more as he needs, I guess.
Can you tell me a bit more about a Fail Association, what that project is all about, kind of your sonic approaches, your content approaches behind it, and the progression of the project?
Well, it's all personal. It's all personal. Even the name is personal.
Yep.
Everything I've done is always personal. It's the words, the music, and anything, the titles, everything is personal. That's my approach, is personal. It's just personal. It's like, you write songs from a personal perspective. That's what happens. And I facilitate between, cut up or just more staticky type stuff, depending on how I'm feeling and what I want to do. Mm-hmm. And really, honestly, it depends on what it sounds like when I listen back to it, because I record a lot of stuff, and then just put it on my computer or put it on a USB and leave it for years, and then I'll go back and listen to it like, oh wow, and then I get an idea of what needs to happen based on that.
Does the content or the emotional element go through the entire recording process and creation process, or is it kind of like something that comes at the end?
No, because you know what? When I record stuff, I'm not recording stuff specifically for anything. Mm-hmm. I always go back to stuff I've already recorded, or I'll record thinking I'm going to do something with it specifically, and then it doesn't happen. Like the New Forces tape. In fact, the New Forces tape that I did is not the New Forces tape I started to do. It was completely different, and I didn't like it anymore. It just didn't sit well. So then I had all this material, and I was listening to it when I was mowing the yard, actually, and I was like, man, I could probably do something with this, and we can make it happen, and I did. And that was all based around Houston. That whole thing was based around Houston.
Can you tell?
Shot Weapon is an actual band with me, Leah, and Domikos in it. That's why it's dedicated. Dedicated to Shot Weapon, because we played shows. We never recorded. We were actually supposed to go to Europe and tour. That never happened. We never recorded ever. We just played live a few times, but we were a band. We considered ourselves a band. It was SSS Shot Weapon was the name of the band.
Cool.
Yeah. And in fact, on the bottom of that, on where the track list is on the bottom, if it says you see where it says we liked you better with braces. That's because at the time I had braces in my 30s. Yeah, I did. And that's something that Leah said to me after I got them off. She goes, you know what? We liked you better with braces. It was hilarious. And when I was making that tape, I remembered she said that, so I put that. In fact, I actually had to email Stefan and say, hey, listen, I'm putting something else on there, because it just fit with it perfect.
That's awesome.
And I think that I had the titles for those, obviously, and I think the music really represents those titles.
Mm-hmm. So with it being personal and content, does it then kind of span a wide range of experience and emotion, or is it more specific with a certain type of experience or emotion?
Well, I'm not, all over the place emotionally and mentally. I'm pretty focused.
I don't mean that.
There's not a lot of variance in, like I'm up and down.
Sure, but I mean, I guess a lot of times when people say, "Oh, it's personal content that goes into it," or whatever, and maybe the name of Fail Association has some negative, maybe melancholic or but also the like you just described, the dedicated shot and weapon, it's pictures of you guys, I guess, as a band on the cover. That sounds to me kind of like a celebratory or like not a nostalgic nice memory. It's not like dwelling on some traumatic fucked up shit.
No, and the name of Fail Association is sure it's got a negative connotation, honestly, but I don't take it negatively, or else I would never use it. Yeah. It's just a matter of fact. There are certain associations that you have with people that fail.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, for whatever reason, friendships, marriages, girlfriends, boyfriends, sons, daughters, whatever, anything. And in fact, I told Sean Kelly from Rotten Peace. He asked me what my project's name was going to be, and I told him it was going to be called Fail Association, without the A. And then after I told him that, I was driving away from their house because I did a recording with them. I'm actually on their L White tape that they did. Mm-hmm. That was my first ever recording with them. I don't know how much of my stuff they used, but yeah, it's pretty shitty, I'm sure. Cool. But as I was driving away, I was like, that doesn't sound right, Fail Association. So how do you make that happen? You put an A in front of it, A Fail Association, because events, that's how that name came about. But everything. Like I said, everything is personal. Track titles, everything. I have a list of track titles of things, and I'll make the music fit to the track title. Like I have my whole next release is already mapped out title wise. It's not mapped out musically, unfortunately, because I was working on some stuff, but I decided it wasn't what I wanted anymore. Sure. So, in fact, I've got a whole release that's already made out from like 4 years ago that I haven't done yet. Title, tracks, everything. I know exactly what it needs to be, but it hadn't happened yet.
And it'll happen soon.
You froze up.
Can you tell about the kind of technical or gear process that goes into your stuff? Like what kind of sound setup you're rocking, and what are your goals?
Sound setup's pretty simple. I mean, it's just guitar pedals. And a few pedals I've gotten here and there. I bought some stuff from Kevin. We have a financial relationship that goes, I give him money, he gives me stuff. And I buy pedals from him, things and PAs and CDs. Which is I'm more than happy to do that. But it's just guitar pedals, and I have a contact mic. In fact, I'll show you. I made this years ago. Yeah. And I've always used it. This is my contact mic.
Wow.
It's just got a mic inside it. In fact, this loose. It's falling apart. I took there's no cover here. It's just this metal. And this is my main sound source right here. This. Wow. And the synth bomb. I love the synth bomb. I think it's fantastic.
Okay, that was my question, because I hear on your stuff a lot of kind of electronic synthy stuff, and I was wondering if you've gotten into the modular stuff, or if you're.
No, I don't use modular stuff at all. Just guitar pedals. I have my Chaos pad, which I barely use ever when I record. I'll use it live every once in a while. Mm-hmm. But it's all guitar pedals. It's just arranging things. A lot of the stuff doesn't happen just live, except for the last 2 tapes I did, which just ended up being live. The No Rent tape was just me recording for source material, not even for that, because Jason had asked me like 8-10 years ago to do something for him. I finally did something for him, but that was just by accident. I was all right. I need to do this, for Jason and get it done finally, and I just stumbled upon this stuff that I had recorded 3 months prior, just trying out a new setup and just seeing what would happen, and that's what that is. That's me playing live. And and just figuring out what I was doing as it was happening. And then I listened back to it, and I was like, man, I can make this happen. This tape.
Cool.
Same with the tape on Monorail. That sat for 3 years. Or 2 years, was it? Yeah, it's 2021. Yeah, it sat for like 3 years. I didn't even hear it. And I've got a bunch of folders all with the years and then months when I recorded the stuff. I like to stay pretty, organized with that. Yeah, so I know where the stuff comes from. And that happened. I just listened back to that stuff and said, man, I can make this happen too, because it's kind of different. It's kind of strange. I think that tape is fantastic. John loved it.
Yeah, it's really good.
Back to when I recorded that stuff, I actually sent him that side 2, maybe, as a CDR, just so he could hear what I was doing. He doesn't remember. He doesn't remember getting it. Or I think he heard it. I think I've got an email from telling me that he had gotten it. But he didn't remember that was the stuff that I had sent him.
Yeah.
But he was all for it. John's another one that I'll do. If John called me tomorrow and said, hey, man, we want to do a pedestrian deposit record, I'll write a check.
For sure.
Yeah. And he's always said that if I ever want to release anything on Monorail, it's open season. So
cool. It's nice.
I respect John a lot. I think John is a fantastic artist. Maybe misunderstood by a lot of people. Maybe he's rubbed some people the wrong way, as we all have at one point or another. But I think John is fantastic.
Yeah. Absolutely. You've also done a lot of splits with your project. What is it about splits that you like so much? Why do you think they're important? It's
the classic, thing. It's to have a split. You get two artists together and work off each other. I think splits are fantastic. I wish there was more of them. I really do. I like splits a lot. You get one guy on one side, you get another guy on another. And it's short and sweet and compact and right to the point.
Yeah. I've noticed that you put yourself usually as the B-side or as the second artist. Is that a conscious decision?
Yeah, it is. Actually is, yes, because the other guy gets the top billing.
Yeah.
Gets the first track.
Yeah.
The other guy. It's always about the other guy for me.
Yeah.
Always. My stuff, I know what's going to happen, and I know what I've done, and I know it's good.
Yeah.
The other guy, I always want to make sure that he gets the top billing. Always.
That's cool.
I think it's important. I mean, if you're putting something out for somebody, you're not relegating them to the back bench. They should be first. They should be first. Sure. If you're splitting with somebody, they should be first. On your label, if you're splitting with somebody, they should be first.
And then a question that I ask everyone, and I'm curious to hear your answers. What are your top 5 noise releases of all time?
I knew you were going to ask that question. There's too many, honestly. There's too many.
Of course.
I actually have a stack of stuff sitting here waiting for that question.
Bring it out.
I could go. I can pop out a few things. Now, do you want 5 or do you want more than 5?
Keep it to 5. That's the challenge.
That's the challenge. Okay.
Because of course it's more than 5.
Okay. All right. And these are in no order whatsoever.
Sure.
Magnified Healing. Love it. Absolutely fantastic CD. Everybody's on point here. Crack Fears, third organ split. Yep. Love this tape. I've always loved this tape. Never gets old, as far as I'm concerned. You're going to make me pick. I've got 2 stacks, actually. It sucks. Hang on. Viodra. Fantastic. Fantastic.
What's the name of the album?
Together. This is All Your Bobby Pins.
Yep.
Well put together. Honestly, this is a really well put together CDR. And it's a CDR. And it's still, this is 21 years ago. 21 years old. This came out in 2001. CDR is still in perfect shape. So it's not, the CDR hasn't failed one bit.
You should rip it though. Have you ripped it?
Nah.
It's gonna.
No, like Keith said, if it breaks, it breaks.
Yeah.
I haven't ripped it. Somebody has though, so I can get it eventually. Is that 4?
That's 3.
Shit.
That's 3.
Black Leather Jesus, Athlete.
Nice.
Fantastic. I remember I played this for Sam in the car going back to the airport. He was like, whoa, man.
Yeah.
Never heard this before.
Yeah.
Probably because it's only 23 copies at the time. That's why. But it's fantastic. I think this is him and Gildan. Yeah, Richard Ramirez and David Gildan. Yeah. This is the CDR on Lazy Squid.
Cool.
And then that's 4, right?
That's 4.
Okay. Yeah, maybe 5. I would say probably First Noise Attack by Guilty Connector. Absolutely fantastic. The first time I heard this, I was like, fuck me running. This is a great fucking record. Yeah.
Killer.
Now, there's probably about 20 others that's sitting there that I could have picked.
Of course,
But
of course.
Those are just 5 that I love, that I absolutely love.
Those are today's 5.
No, those are. Oh, now today's 5?
Yeah, I mean those are. I mean, it could be. You could choose different 5 tomorrow, but.
Yeah, those. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But those are up there, and then can you tell me 5 new releases of the past several years, or if not specific releases, at least artists that you are particularly excited about?
Yeah. Like I said, the Death Squad book. And have you seen it? You know what it looks like?
Not yet. It's arriving tomorrow.
This is it right here.
Yeah. I have the previous one he did.
Look at that.
Yeah.
It is absolutely fantastic. And there's all the CDs right there.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I just got this last week. It's great. Jute.
Oh, yeah.
Contempt. The Contempt tape, and this is on Grimaldi's label.
Yep.
The first time when he sent me this, I heard it. I was like, "Fuck, man, this is a great tape. This is really good." Yeah,
It's a good project.
Moat, the tape on Skeleton Dust Records. What's it called? It's called Love the Junk of Society. The track, the first track, Pant, the side A, fucking amazing.
It's insane.
Amazing. It really is a really good tape, and it kind of caught me off guard how good it was.
Me too.
Because he recorded this in 2018 before he recorded the stuff for me.
Yeah. It's really good. I was shocked by it. It's super intense. And I love the name of the second track. I think it's called Road or Street.
Yeah, Road or Street. his titles are always so fantastic. Really. And then there is newer stuff. I have to shamelessly plug myself, the Framework CD.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
That's absolutely
even if I had to put this out, I would think it was a top release of the last 3 or 4 years. It's just absolutely fantastic. This release right here, Astro. It's on Fantasy One, Damakos's label.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really good. Anonymous Soundscapes. It is fantastic, and I don't think anybody even knows about it.
No.
Really, it's really good. You should know about it. I love it. I think it's fantastic.
I should get more stuff from him. I did get some stuff from him one time. I should get some more.
Yeah, he puts out a lot of good stuff. Just nobody knows it.
He does.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. Is that 5 or is that 4?
I think it's 4.
I think that's probably 4. Okay.
Yeah.
I got one more. Government Alpha.
Which one is that? Oh.
That is Effective Imagery.
Yep.
On the what is it? The Abhorrent? No, not Abhorrent. What is it? Abhorrent Creation tapes.
Yep.
The CD.
That's good too. I have that.
It is. It's fantastic. It's Government Alpha. You know what you're getting. You know, it's like when you smoke a Marlboro. You know you're smoking a Marlboro. It's Government Alpha. You know what you're getting. But it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Cool. That's 5. Those are good recommendations. Those are good.
Yeah. I would recommend anybody pick up that Astro CDR. I mean, it's a CDR, and I know there's people who don't like CDRs, but it's a CDR.
It's got music on it.
Yeah, that Viodre CDR. 21 years old. I never had a problem with one. Yeah, I mean, people, it's gonna melt. No, it's not. It's gonna be fine as long as you're not storing it out in the sun. It's gonna be fine. Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, the Moat CD or cassette is fucking fantastic. That jute tape. Now, to be honest, and to be fair, the second one that I got of him, I didn't like as much as like the first.
From what?
No, jute.
From jute. Okay.
Yeah. That doesn't mean it's bad, but just that one is a fantastic tape. Really
cool.
But still listen to the other one too, because it's just I don't think it's put together as well, but it's still a great tape. Yeah. I don't even know who does it. I mean, is he from the United States? Is he Canada or
I think it's a
Europe?
Canadian guy. Yeah, it's a Canadian guy. Yeah, I don't know too much about it either, but
yeah, it's really good.
It's been popping up, and it's been definitely of interest. Yeah. I have to check it out more. So, what else have you got coming up in the near future from both yourself as an artist, as a Fail Association, and on Dada Drumming? What's in the pipeline? What can we see? What can we expect soon?
I'm supposed to do a CD for Skeleton Dust. That'll be the next thing. But I just got rid of, but recently got rid of all the stuff I was working on because I don't like it. So I'm revisiting that after me and Kevin go to Albuquerque to play a show for his CD. We're doing a CD release. Well, speaking of that, right here. There's the new TEF CD right there.
Great.
Yeah, it's called Wrought, WROUGHT.
Yes.
It's ready to go. We're going to Albuquerque on October 7th to play a show as the CD release party.
Great.
For him. And then we're coming back and then playing Denton as well on the Sunday. And we kind of segued from AFA to Dada, but on Dada I'll also is this.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
The CD version of The Brain on War.
So good.
Just absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Those guys are nuts.
Long form. Yeah. I like all their stuff, but this is long form, and it's completely, not like the other stuff, but at the same time like it. Of course. It's really, really good. And then after that, I've got Macronympha live from Pittsburgh, which is going to be an LP.
Cool.
I'm hoping to have it out by the holidays, but I don't know if with pressing times it may not happen. But
right.
And then there's a whole bunch of I've got a whole bunch of macro stuff that I need to work on for next year.
Cool.
He sent me a whole. This thing's full of Macronympha right here.
Wow, he sent you the recorder?
I sent this to him and said fill it up, and he sent it back filled up. So with an SD card.
He talked about that in the interview we did, but I didn't know it was actually a recorder like that. That's cool.
Yeah, I sent him that because I wanted him to record specifically for me for this stuff, and he did. And there's a lot of good stuff in there. I just got to put it together. He gave me carte blanche to put it together.
Killer.
So we're gonna put a Macronympha record together for him.
Great. That's
killer. And then there's actually a Moat CD which I need to do, which is one track, 60 minutes, it's just absolutely fantastic. It's called A Brain in the Dark Fog is the name of the track. The CD is called, what is the CD called? CD is not the same as Kill the Sun is the name of the CD.
Nice.
And the track is called Brain in the Dark Fog, and it's just one long 60-minute track of Moat's brain. Yeah.
Sick.
Fumiyuki's brain.
That's amazing.
And then that's Dada. And then there's miscellaneous stuff, which, like I said, I'm trying to get back to just doing what I was originally wanted to do, was me, Kevin, and maybe a few other things.
On the label.
Like, yeah. I'm just trying to keep it family oriented, Just keep it in the family.
Yeah. But you've been branching out a lot lately. You've been.
Yeah.
Which is also cool.
I lost you. You locked up. What did you say?
You've been branching out though a lot lately with the label lately in terms of releases, different artists, different kind of.
Yeah. Well, I'd always wanted to do something noisecore wise, power. As far as that was concerned. So that's why I got me and Uchi had talked for a long time.
Yep.
And I asked him to ask them to do a CD for me, and I think that came out fucking fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
Carlos obviously is an awesome artist,
Yeah.
and his CD is really, really good. And he does a lot of artwork for me.
Yeah.
And he's been around for a long time. We've played together many times over the years.
Cool.
He ran Pitch Phase, which was a fantastic label.
Okay.
Yeah, Carlos was Pitch Phase, man.
I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah, he had a project called Price Taggery in Houston, which was absolutely fantastic, and they used to do audio visual stuff.
Cool. Okay, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, the guy's fantastic. He's a fantastic artist.
Very
And his
cool.
CD is fantastic. That's also on Spotify.
Yeah.
Basically, all the CDs are on Spotify and iTunes and things like that.
Yeah.
Cassettes I don't really put up, besides the Wave of Mutilation one, because that was a specific special package where it was sealed up.
Right.
So I gave people the option of actually, without having to break the package open, because a lot of people don't like to break packages open. Let's be honest. I've got a few that I've never broken open that I own, I've never listened to.
Yeah.
They look great, but I'm not going to break the package. So I put that on Spotify and on Bandcamp for anybody who wanted it.
Yeah, that's cool. I would encourage anyone who's out there. You have such a great, diverse catalog, and it's all on Spotify, which, I think is a cool move. I think that's, really nice to be able to listen to all that stuff. Just
the LPs, besides the Hiroshi Asagawa, and the tapes, besides the Sunk Cost Wave of Mutilation tape, none of those are on digital, because I respect the format.
Yeah.
You're making something specifically for that. The Hiroshi one, I wanted that to be available digitally because it was just so good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so good.
Yeah.
90 minutes worth of fucking noise from this guy, double LP, and it's just absolutely fantastic.
Dude, that's super cool that he came from Japan and did a Texas-only tour. That's so cool.
Yeah, and you want to hear how that actually happened?
Yeah.
A guy in Austin was trying to bring either him or Incapacitants over, I think. And he had a GoFundMe up to do it, to get money to do it. And I don't know how I found out about it. I think Robert actually texted me. He was like, yeah, you see this? And so I was like, don't do a GoFundMe for this. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
So I got in touch with the guy. I was like, listen, I'll pay for him to come over. I'll do it. And we'll do the Blacklit, and Richard too. Because I think it was Richard and Hiroshi that originally, that was the tour. I was like, I'll pay for these guys to come down. And I've told them both what was happening, and they were fine with it. And then I said, well, let's do a CD too. So we did the CD as well. So that's how that happened. So I got in contact with him, that guy. I can't remember his name now, but I told him, listen, I'll pay for these guys to come over. Let's just do it. And let's just make it a tour, with me and Domikos and Kevin and the whole deal. So.
Were you playing as Black Little Jesus?
In Houston, Garrett played a fantastic set. I wish it was longer.
Cool.
It was really, it was not noise. It was just vocals and sound. It was really, really good. But he cut it short because he thought there was somebody who had come who was supposed to play canceled. And so he could have gone for as long as he wanted. He didn't know it. I told him, I was like, hey, you could have kept going. I really wish you did. I love Garrett. I think he's great. Yeah, his stuff is great.
Were you playing on that tour?
He played one of the loudest noise shows I've ever seen in my life in Denton, in a basement. And he had this PA, which is like, it had to be 2,000 amps. It was fucking huge, dude. And it was just like, it was so loud. Everybody in there was like, oh my God. It was great.
What are some other Texas live experiences that you can tell me about?
The best Richard Ramirez show, hands down, that I ever saw was him, a microphone, and one pedal. It was absolutely fantastic. He knows how to get sound out of anything that he works with. Yeah. And in fact, I think he was late. He was supposed to show up and play, and he was late.
Yeah.
And he just came in and just did just bouncing the microphone on the concrete and with the pedal, and it really was. And it was like 6 people. There was nobody. It was all around him, and it was just it was so good. I still remember it to this day.
Yeah.
I saw Black Leather Jesus, multiple times play. In fact, I saw them play in Dallas, and Kevin too, before I even knew who they were. That's where I got that Athlete CD. CDR
Cool.
from them there. I didn't even know who they were. Didn't even introduce myself. Just bought the stuff and watched the show. Yeah.
Did you ever see Taint live?
No. I was supposed to see him live, and he didn't show up. He didn't come. And the one time I could have seen him was the 2021 Dead Audio Fest. I went to Houston specifically to go to that show before I knew any of these people, and I got the flu.
Oh.
I got the flu, and I couldn't go. I would have seen Stimbox, Taint. I mean, I regret it. To this day, I think about that. Like, I got the flu, and I mean, it was bad, too, and I was in bed. But I missed that. So I never got to see Taint. And he was supposed to play a show that Larry from Steelhook Prosthesis had set up, but he didn't show up.
Okay.
He didn't show up, or he didn't call, one of the two, or something. Or he said he wasn't coming, or I don't even think he told anybody he was coming. He just didn't show up.
Okay.
And Larry was like, "That's last time I invite him." So I never, even though we live 80 miles apart, I mean, I could drive to his house in an hour if I really wanted to. I've never met him and never saw him live.
Yeah.
He
I think a lot of people didn't.
Yeah, he truly was just under the radar.
Yeah.
He existed. You he existed, but you didn't really see him.
Yeah.
I think Andy Goat worked with him for a while.
Okay.
They worked together. Yeah. So he knew him.
Interesting.
But no, I never got to see Tank. Saw a lot of shows in Houston. I mean, I spent a lot of time in Houston between 2002 and 2006. I mean, that's generally where I always played, was Houston. Houston was the noise capital of Texas.
Sure.
As soon as when Richard left, everything went.
Right.
Yeah. They try to keep it going in Austin, which they're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
But since Johnny left Austin, that kind of same thing. Yeah. Once the main guy leaves, it's hard to get things happening. But I'll be honest with you, the Hiroshi Hasagawa Black Leather Jesus tour was really well attended. Really, there was a lot of people at all the shows. Even Denton, which I was surprised. I think they thought Houston was going to be our worst, but that ended up being the best. I mean, that place was packed.
Killer.
It was fantastic. Yeah.
Great.
A lot of shows in Houston all the time. In fact, I missed a whole bunch of them. But I would try to come down as often as I could to either play or just see the shows. Like, I drove once. Sam was coming through with somebody. I can't remember who. Back in 2010 or 2011, and I drove from here to Houston just to see him play, and then got in my car and drove back.
Yeah.
I spent 6 hours in the car just to see Sam play.
Yeah, that's warrior style.
Yeah. Same night, too. I didn't even sleep.
Yeah.
I just came right back. Yeah. But there was a shit ton of shows in Houston, and Houston was really a hotbed of activity.
Yeah. Do you think those times are over?
Yeah, they are.
For noise in America in general, or just this? I'm not talking about Houston, but
I wouldn't know. I'm sure there's plenty of stuff that happens in the major metropolises, New York and stuff. You don't see many people on the bills at New York shows, do you? You don't see Texas people on those shows. You don't see Texas people on the LA shows. You don't see they keep stuff pretty local. Texas is pretty local too. Yeah. Although we tried to bring a bunch of people here. And when people come, well, we'd always take care of them. If you came to Texas and I was there, I would take care of you.
Yeah.
Hotels, money, ask people. They'll tell you.
Yeah.
Because I think it's important.
Yeah.
Stay at my house. Whatever you need. But I don't know how they do that other places. If there's even a large. I've seen some shows like in LA and New York recently that they were advertised or had flyers and stuff, and there was 70 artists or something. I don't know are those shows popular, or do the people show up?
Sure. I mean, there was the Summer Scum Festival just this summer.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about that I saw.
Yeah. That's a big one they do every year, and they bring a lot of people in for that for sure from around. But I do want to commend you just in general. I think you're saying something really important, is just the gesture of paying artists money, or at least, if not paying, doing something as a gesture of respect and reciprocation for what they do. I think one thing that's quite interesting in Europe that I've that's different from the situation in America is that if you play a show, I haven't played that many, but if you play a show, it doesn't really matter where it is or who it is. You show up and the people are going to have some food for you.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to have some pizzas, and they're going to have a place for you to stay lined up, and probably, you know, give you free reign of a fridge with some beer in it or something like that. And I found in playing shows in the U.S. that was very rare. And
yeah, you're on your own mentality, basically.
You're on your own, and you know, I know that money is tight for everyone. It kind of depends on what you do in your private life or your personal life, what kind of income you have. But at the same time, at the end of the day, $50 or $100 should be doable.
Yeah, you would think, right? I mean,
and it makes a big difference to a touring artist just to have that gesture of, hey, here you go, here's $50 or here's $100 or here's some, you know, and it's just the gesture isn't often made. I even heard recently of an artist from that I won't, you know, out of respect for him, I won't name him, but I know he was playing in the States recently, and he had a tour in the States, which I think was pretty good. But at a very big, well-attended show, he was not given anything from the door, and I just kind of thought, really? That's just insane to me.
Yeah, he should have been given. Was he the only European artist there on the show?
Yeah.
He should have been. Then he should have gotten the money.
Yeah.
He should have gotten all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, the locals should have been like, well, let's take care of this guy. You know.
Exactly. I mean, and that's the thing, is that there isn't enough of this kind of attitude. I don't think, like, hey, even if I'm going to operate a loss here, even if, like, let's just take care of this person, because I'm going to recover from it and I'll forget about it in, you know, a week.
He won't.
And he won't.
If you hand somebody $300 cash, they're not going to forget it. But I tell you what, they're not. But I tell you, on the other end of the coin, if you let them play and then at the end of the night they're going, and you don't come up with an envelope or hand them some cash, they're going to remember that shit too.
Exactly.
I wouldn't do anything with that person ever again.
Yeah. And like I said, it's not about money. It's not. I mean, sometimes
it's not even about the cash. It's not even about the money. It's the gesture.
Yeah.
It's the fact that you're trying to take care of somebody. Yeah, you have to. You have to take care of people. They come to your town and you don't take care of them.
Yeah.
Do people want to come to your town anymore? No.
I mean, I guess if you live in a big, cool city, you have that luxury of not giving a fuck.
I know people too who've gone to other places, and come the end of the night, you know.
Yeah.
There's not an envelope being handed to you.
Yeah.
You know, there's not pizza waiting for you.
Yeah.
There's not this. There's not that.
Well, So I just want to I want to say I really respect that. I really admire that, and you know, Dada Drumming is a label that I have always just seen as kind of a symbol for true dedication, true authentic belief, and honest passion for noise and music. And I respect that in a big way. I respect the way you operate, and
I try to be honest with everybody. You know, I do.
Yeah, but honest in terms of your vision also for the label. You release things.
Yeah.
You're not releasing some stuff that's just flavor of the week to be cool. You're releasing stuff that you believe in, that you like, and whether or not it's the hot thing right now, you put your money where your mouth is and you put that shit out. And that's what I think. That's, you know, kind of when I asked you about what's the purpose of a label, in my opinion, that's what a label is for. And you know, you kind of said that in your short answer. It's putting out stuff that you like, but it's like that's the point of a label, is like not just kind of going through the ropes and putting out another tape by someone who's already really popular and being already and just getting another piece of the pie. It's like, no, this is my vision. This is an artist that I want you guys to see. And I think that's what I always have seen by Dada Drumming, and a high quality. You know, it's like the quality is always up there. It's never
think so. I don't think there's ever been a bad release ever. No. I mean, there's been releases where nobody cared. But I'll be honest with you. There's there's some tapes that people just whatever, didn't care. But it was always high quality stuff as far as I'm concerned. The music, always.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever put out a bad thing. There's going to be people who probably will say I did at some point, and that's fine. But I personally don't think I ever put out a bad thing. So I can stand on my own 2 feet and say I think I did the right thing all the time.
Yeah, and that's cool. And like I said, when you were kind of reemerging and I was kind of in touch with you, I told Luke Tandy, and he was super stoked, and he was like, Dada Drumming is like a label for the true heads, and I was like, exactly, and that's I
appreciate that comment, really, I do. Because I don't hear a lot. I don't hear a lot from people about anything.
No, Luke was like, that's one of my favorite labels of all time, and he was so stoked. And Will too. Will from Worth was super stoked that he emailed me like kind of like out of the blue, like, do you know Dada Drumming is back? And I was like, that's like,
yeah.
But yeah, so I just want to say I want to tip my hat to you and say
I'm going to break the rules right now. Number 6, Weak Sisters tape.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Fantastic. C92. Love it.
That's a great tape, and Will has been killing it since he was 14 years old. So
yeah. I met him. We played a show in Arlington together back in 2010, I think. 2010. Yeah. He came through. He was touring, and he blew me away there. Yeah. I mean, it was just absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Other people's children, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got their early stuff.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always respected Will.
Yeah. Well, cool. Do you anything else you'd like to add or tell people about that I maybe missed or that you'd like to share about upcoming activities or anything that you want to make known?
Oh yeah, there is I'm sorry, I did forget one thing. There is a neural Industria Masochista tape that I'm doing.
Cool.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of Industria Masochista. Maybe people don't know who he is or like him, but
I'm not familiar.
Yeah. He was on a release with Big Brown Bodies. You ever hear that? Print. Print. It was like 10 copies, I think, with Richard Ramirez. Oh no, Priest and Shit.
Okay.
Industria Masochista. I think it was Mormansk 150.
Yep.
And Print. Yeah. Called Big Brown Bodies. Like 10 copies in a box. I bought it in Houston. It was out. Richard obviously put it up there for consignment.
Yeah.
But ever since that tape, I've always thought, man, I need to do something for him. And Neural too. I've got a ton of old Neural stuff that I've collected over the years, and I've always been a fan of him.
Yeah.
And we just like I said, I don't email people cold call. I don't cold call people. Say, hey man, you want to do a release for me? It just happens organically eventually.
Right. Yeah. Cool. All right, Greg. Well, thank you so much for.
Yeah, I hope I answered all your questions, and I hope you've gotten a view of what happened.
Definitely did.
Yeah.
And it was a pleasure to.
I appreciate you. I'll say, and don't edit this out. I appreciate you for what you do too, because you, like you said, you try to get everything, and there's a lot of people who don't try to get everything, but you try to be the hub for distribution in Europe and the UK, and I think you're doing a pretty good job of it.
I try to make it about distributing, not about flipping or about necessarily my own tastes. Even it's about seeing people doing stuff that I think is respectable. Well,
that's apparent,
and I just want to distribute it.
You're not trying to flip. You're not. Oh, I'm going to get 15 of these, and I'm going to sell them, and no problem. No, you're like, all right, I'll get these, and we'll sell them eventually. And that's the way it should be. We'll sell them eventually. Exactly.
And stuff sells. I mean, everything that I'm sitting on, that I've thought, this will never, how will I ever move these copies? Yeah, a couple years later, they're gone. So, I mean, and there's people discovering noise all the time. There's people discovering...
Yeah, there are.
Coming to noise as new fans all the time. There's people getting back into it. There's people going through it.
And you know what? And that's why I can understand the whole push to reissue everything.
Yeah.
Because it always cycles. There's always new people coming in, there's people going out, and new people coming in. And, they didn't get, that limited to 50 incapacitance tape back in 1996, or whatever.
Exactly.
And so, or the 150 copy LP, from back then. So I can see there's a market for re-releasing that stuff. I personally don't do it, but I can understand why it is.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like I said, I mean, I'm younger, and I also got into noise in the mid 2000s, so I missed that stuff, and I don't have the
Yeah.
money to track it down and pay crazy prices for it. So
Yeah.
I'm really happy when someone puts out a CD.
I try to still. I mean,
Edition of-
there's people who are gonna gouge it. They will. They know what they have.
Yeah,
I know what I
exactly.
have.
And that's fine. I mean, if I had a lot of disposable income, I would probably get into that. Just tracking down all the stuff, but I don't. So I mean, I love when someone puts out, "Hey, this is a masterpiece from '95 that you used to not be able to find anywhere, and here it is on a CD for $10 to $12, and you can get it and hear it." And it's like, that's for me, that's worth a lot. That should be happening simultaneously.
Pay the guy though for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Cool, Greg. Well,
Make their bank accounts a little fatter for that work they did back then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I really appreciate it. It was great to meet you and talk to you. And
Yeah, you too, man. I appreciate it. Really, I do.
take care, and we'll talk soon.
All right, sir. Bye-bye.